is unrelenting, and I will exalt your name in all the earth. And your love has found me, 'cause your love is persevering, and I will exalt your name in all the earth. Oh, 'cause your love has won me, 'cause your love is unwavering, and I will exalt your name in all the earth. Where would I be without the love of Jesus? Where would I be if not for his blood? Where would I be without the love of Jesus? Now I'm free. I'm free. I'm free indeed. Now I'm free. I'm free. Free indeed. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made it, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made it, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I made it, when it's all about you. It's all about you, when it's all about you. It's all about you. Oh, it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. It's all about you. Oh, Lord, it's all about you. Oh, it's all about you. Oh, it's all about you. There is none like you. There is none like you. Oh, Jesus. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to worship you. I live to worship you. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. Oh, to worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. Oh, 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 Jesus. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. Oh, to worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. Oh,
Wow. I was caught up. Sorry. That is the whole reason we are here, isn't it, Amy? For us to just worship God, and to know that his presence is always here for us, no matter where we go, what we're doing, or what is involved in our lives, to know that we have a relationship with God and that we can turn to him and we can find that peace in worship, and it's amazing. As you was playing, I was just thinking about, I know people may feel like, I'm not a singer or I don't sing this way, but, worship is a personal expression.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
To God about how you feel about him, how you feel even about life.
Yeah.
Just being real, just being open and just being honest with him, even in the hardest times of our lives, we can find the most peaceful place in our hearts, and we can still be able to face no matter what's going on in our lives. Do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I love that you talk about worship, because one of the just my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Jesus and the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well, and I just love that passage so much. So actually the next song I have is basically based on that whole story. It just touched me so much one day when I was reading it and just kind of studying, everything about it. And it's just so beautiful. And how worship is so important, that it's so much more than just words and song, and it's an expression from your heart. And that's why for me, I love worshiping the Lord in praise and worship, of course, but I also love finding all different ways to worship him. So a big one in my life is theater, and the vision that I have for my life is to write musicals for God's glory and to make them all pointing to God and to the gospel and what the Lord has done. And that's why I love trying everything, because I just love worshiping God in different ways. So I'm in dance. I'm not a good dancer yet, but I love dancing for God's glory, and I love singing, and I love acting. And once I started playing piano, it was like, okay, now I have to learn guitar and ukulele and absolutely everything possible, because I just want to worship Him. For me, with songs is a huge deal. But for other people, it's all different things. Everybody has their own calling and their own giftings. And, something recently in my life that I felt is just through seeking the Lord is, my calling is not going to be exactly the same as, my sisters or, somebody else at church or a friend of mine. And it doesn't have to look exactly the same. I love ministry, and that's a huge place on my heart. But in order to go into theater, I have to be able to learn everything about theater and music and all of that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I can be worshiping Him with my actions, with my words. And that's why I love the story of the Samaritan woman. It's awesome. Read it if you haven't. It's in John 4. And it talks about just how Jesus, He actually went out of His way to go to this well. He didn't need to go that way, but I really believe that He knew the encounter that He was about to have and the impact that He was about to have on all of the Samaritan people, really. And so He went to this well alone, and He sent His disciples away, and He came across this woman who was going there to get water in the middle of the day, in the heat of the day. And if you look up the context and everything, it's actually very rare that a woman would go to the well during that time, that anybody would go to the well, because it was so hot. And that was just also the way that it was then. And the reason she did that was because she was a woman who was ashamed of her life, of her lifestyle, and of the sins she had committed. And so she didn't want to be seen. She didn't want anyone to see her. And it's hard for me to talk about this story because it's just so powerful. And just she didn't expect to encounter anyone. And she goes to this well, and she didn't want to be seen by anyone, but she was seen by the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the one who loved her like nobody could love her, who loved her from before she even walked up to that well. No matter her sin, no matter the problems that she was facing in her life, He loved her, and He really did show that love to her. Because from that passage, they have this conversation, awesome conversation, look it up. And he asks her for a drink, and they're talking,